we used to have comics, and I definitely learned, like there was skating and ballet in those, and so you could learn how to draw a figure from those, you know. And also, like, we did an awful lot of lying around as kids. Like kids nowadays, they've got schedules and they go swimming and then they have play dates, and you know, like there's not that much lying around, and if they are, they're on screens, and I don't really want to be too disapproving of screens, because I gather when books entered children's lives, there was terrible fear that children would never be children again because they would have books instead of playing. So I suppose we have to live with the screens, but I do think boredom is terribly good for creativity. Having nothing to do and very little to do it with is terribly good for your creativity. I just remember there was a family next door to us when we were growing up, the Collinses, and their dad said to us, "We're going to paint the big room downstairs. So before we paint it, you can draw on the walls." Like, all those kids and ourselves, like, you know, the idea that you could draw all over the walls, and we really didn't mind that it all got covered up again, because I think if you notice with kids, with adults, they want the badge of honour. They want to show the thing afterwards to say, "I made this." But kids actually, they do it, they love the process, and then they're quite happy to leave it behind them. And I just think if we could actually get to that stage as adults, we'd be flying, you know. Around the corner in my favourite cafe, I love drawing. I absolutely love it. And I think because people relax over a cup of coffee, or because the cafe is full of books, so people are inclined to sit there with a coffee or a glass of wine and a book. And so they're like perfect life drawing models. And I'm kind of an impatient person in ways. So I love the idea that I have to catch somebody and do it very quickly. I was at life drawing last night, and they start off with, you know, 5 minutes, and they're the ones I like. You have to kind of settle down afterwards and give yourself to, you know, 30 minutes and things like that. And yes, it definitely has a value, but I think it's the playfulness of the thing, not the hard work, that appeals to me. I have drawn that dresser behind me several times, and I do like the dresser, and we have it a long time, and I think it's a natural frame for whatever you're going to put in, and it's automatically got circles for plates and diagonals for cups hanging and things like that. I think it's a vital part of our lives, and you know, I the only time I ever stole a magazine out of a doctor's waiting room, and it wasn't that long ago, I found the National Geographic with these cave paintings and handprints on them, and the article was about the fact that they had discovered that the handprints and the drawings were women's, and they know from the handprints that women's hands are different to men. They're not smaller, they're different as well. And so I just think it's so wonderful to think that, you know, even, I don't know how old those are, but certainly over 6,000 years old? But very old anyway, and they're there, and they're perfect. And these are people who, for no apparent reason, are drawing. And I think that speaks volumes.
Do you think you've had a big... do you think you're... So I'm just thinking about those cave people now.
Okay.
Drawing the outlines. Sorry, I'm completely off track.
Well, I just think it's a natural thing to do, to draw on things, you know.